Hello and welcome to Paydirt TV. I'm Dominic Piper. Today I'm joined by Vincent Algar, Managing Director of Australian Vanadium Ltd. Vince, thanks for joining us.
Dom, great to be here.
Now, looking at it might not be shown in the price charts at the moment, but given the news flow you've had out of the company lately, there's a real momentum, isn't there, in Australian Vanadium? You've had a capital raising that you put away earlier on in the year, and you're making real advances on your projects, both on the mining front and the technology front.
Yeah, it's a very busy time in the company, and as I said to someone, a shareholder earlier this morning, if I'm involved, there'll be action. We really like getting things done. The team is really cranking along. We've got some excellent consultants on board. So at the moment, the core things you mentioned from the mining point of view and the project point of view is closing out the DFS. Absolutely highest priority for us, just locking off the last little bits and pieces now while we get it ready to get it out there. That's a key part of us. It's a bankable feasibility study. That's one of our key objectives. The team's mostly focused on that. On the technology side, we would have seen we're very focused on two other things. The battery itself, so the vanadium redox flow battery, growing that market in Australia through the sales of new opportunities, both right from domestic all the way through to large-scale grid. Storage capabilities with the flow battery. And for that, we tend to work with other commercial companies around the world that provide the technology. But essential for that is the connection between the flow battery market and the vanadium itself, which is to have the ability to make that vanadium electrolyte here in Australia. Yeah, lots of different things moving, but each one really moving on its own trajectory and very exciting for us and busy in the company.
Yeah, it's quite a new, unique proposition from what is traditionally an Australian mining stock. Let's have a look at the mining in particular to start with then. You did an updated PFS not less than 12 months ago. Yeah. How much will the BFS change in scope and in design from that PFS?
Well, when we did the PFS update, we'd made the changes we wanted to make to the circuit. The circuits, there's two parts of the circuit. There's a mine and a concentration circuit, which in the PFS update, again, we modified from the first one. And we made some fundamental changes. One, we decided in the PFS update to separate the processing plant from the concentrator. And that's a really fundamental shift. It's a strategic shift for WA. It's not something that's been done in WA before. It's been done in other commodities like lithium. So when if you take Greenbushes and the Albemarle Tianqi opportunities, that's a natural thing to do. You make the most out of the facilities you've got at the coast, for example. So for us, it's a natural thing to do. It fits perfectly well with the Australian situation in the Midwest. We've got the Port of Geraldton, the City of Geraldton, and the available people, skills, infrastructure, gas, etc. So separating the mine and the concentrator was one of the fundamental things we did. And we did that so we could de-risk a number of the different parts of the project. So that's going to carry on. That's we're locking that in. We've locked in a few changes to the processing circuit, mainly about efficiency around what we're doing, and really just nailing down the test work to make sure that what we've chosen is going to work. And we've done that on both the crushing and milling circuit and the processing circuit. So there's not going to be major changes, but what we've done is cement the changes we made in the PFS update.
Because vanadium has been a little bit of a problem child in the WA mining industry, where many of our viewers will know the travails of Windermere down the years, and we've never been able to quite nail a viable vanadium operation. How does AVL and the Australian Vanadium Project differ from what we've seen historically, and why will it be successful?
Okay, right, there's a couple of things. We talk about people and the project, right, in particular. So the most important thing is that the project itself is robust under many, many circumstances. So the comparison with Windermere is that the grade of the deposit itself that is being mined is significantly higher. Windermere's resource grade, reserve grade was 0.4, 0.5. We're talking about a reserve grade here of 1 to 1.1. Right, so that gives us a whole different ballgame. The other thing is the quality of the concentrate that we make. We have a very low silica concentrate, and that's the nature of the high grade ore body, which Windermere didn't have. So the ore body at Windermere was big, but it had some inherent problems in itself. The second part is the way they went about the building of that plant and what they chose to deal with and what they chose not to deal with. So we've got the benefit of hindsight here, and that is really, really important to understand. And we've got people in our team that saw the last stages of Windermere and shut the thing down the last time, Daniel Harrison and Todd Richardson, and the team within Primera, some of the people within Primera, for example, Graham Arvidsson was also there as a junior engineer. So we've got people working with us, Brian McNabb out of Wood, people that have been there and seen those errors and now we can carry those areas and make sure we put them away. We've also got the benefit of having looked at the most recent construction, Largo Resources, where they had startup issues, and those around how they dealt with those. So we're really making sure that we live and learn from what happened and then move forward. The good part is that the deposit is very robust to deal with those things, and that's what we focused on, is dealing with the deposit and the flow sheet to treat the ore body. I have an old saying, Dom, that says the ore body always wins. If you don't listen to the ore body and try and it'll get you back in the end. So you must listen to everything it tells you, geochemically, processing wise. It's got lots of lessons, right from the drill rig all the way through to the end. Learn every lesson you can, and then learn from other people. Make sure you've got a strong team that knows vanadium. So we've done that. We'll condense that information. We've been doing it for a couple of years now.
I've seen that you spoke earlier about its use in batteries. Could vanadium be considered a battery mineral these days? Well,
it is a critical mineral, right? So first, and that's because it's used in critical applications, particularly defence and aerospace applications. It's needed in tooling. It's needed in high-strength aluminium alloys. So it's got a very strong defence application. And anything that the US or Europe or the UK, Japan and Korea don't have in their countries as resources are critical minerals, and vanadium is definitely one of those. It's not there for its use in rebar, it's for that. Then you have the battery application, which is 1% of the market now, growing with a huge growth profile, probably 20 to 25% anticipated growth rate. It's not going to happen on its own, right? So that's where VSUN comes in. That's where pushing the story. That's where the electrolyte plant comes in. We have to push it. And the Australian market for renewables is fantastic. So that's a perfect fit for vanadium redox flow batteries and large consumption of vanadium that goes with it. Other applications that will come to the fore is that vanadium, when used in steel, is a big greenhouse gas impact. We've got some good numbers around this. We'll start to filter out once we can get good solid scholarly underwriting, like published information from that. But we've done some work through Vanatech, our global organisation, and Texas A&M University, which shows the absolutely vital impact of using vanadium in steel already. It's existing application. The more vanadium you use, the more greenhouse gas you offset, because you use less steel, you use less cement.
So explain to us a little bit about VSUN and what the idea is behind that. We see Tesla Powerwalls and products like this on the market, but where does the vanadium redox flow battery fit into that space? Right,
so vanadium as a redox flow battery is a long duration, high cycle life battery. So it can sit in any application. It's most cost effective when it can be cycled more than once a day, and really, unlike a Tesla or any other lithium-ion battery, where you're trying to reduce your cycle consumption, with a flow battery you can increase your cycle consumption because it doesn't hurt the battery at all. It can also do very large capacity. So we're talking about anything from hundreds of kilowatt hours up to hundreds of megawatt hours, and everything in between. So it's about scaling the application, the storage application, to the problem itself, rather than just taking a one-size-fits-all and stick it in and hope it works. We're looking at mine-site applications, we're looking at pumping applications, we're looking at domestic and small business applications, on-grid and off-grid, where you can find the right battery that fits. But every single one of those batteries is filled with vanadium electrolyte, and that's where the solution is. So that's the connection. VSUN is out there looking for those business opportunities, and AVO will literally backfill the electrolyte to make those work.
Where should investors look to from here, from AVL? What can we see on the horizon for the company?
Well, getting the bankable feasibility study out there is a key milestone for us, and the reason is that it sets us up to see the funding window for the project to go ahead. Our ultimate aim is to get to a financial close around mid-year, and including our approvals closed by mid-year. If we don't get that, at least sometime in the second half of the year would be ideal. And then once we're from there, we're starting to look at build-out phase. On the VSUN side, we want to make sure we keep growing that market, so give VSUN more and more juice to get its market built, prove its market, and then get that electrolyte plant built to start supplying that thing. So there'll be at least three aspects of that going on. Obviously, when we're doing our study, we'll be looking at closing offtake agreements, both internally and externally, with battery companies and with steel makers, so we can lock in the funding. We're sitting in a unique position globally, from a local and a global competitor point of view. If you look at who can come online next, with about 5% of the market production, that's us. All suggest is people do their homework on us, look as deeply as you like, you can keep digging through and you'll find good detail everywhere you go and make their decisions from there.
Do your own research is always a good advice, but of course use Paydirt and the people that we talk to as a good opportunity for some of that homework. Vince, thanks for joining us today. Best of luck with that feasibility study and also the VSUN. I'm going to keep an eye out and see if we can see some of those applications in commercial offices and their homes as well. And hopefully you can join us again before the end of the year to go through them feasibility numbers.
Fantastic, look forward to it.